talked a lot about how she felt badly about herself, that she was stupid, that people made fun of her. It's just a really hard thing for a parent to hear.
She felt like she wasn't smart. Kids started realizing that she wasn't good at reading, and they would make her feel bad about herself. The school would take her out of her classes that she was good at to have her go do something that she wasn't very good at. She was losing her self-confidence.
She would start doing anything to distract herself from having to sit there and do the writing.
He was really having problems decoding his words, real problems with spelling, problems with reading and writing, and he just really wasn't making progress.
We didn't see in him a spark in the public school situation.
He was never able to learn his alphabet. Reading was not even, there was no reading at all. Nobody told us that they thought it was dyslexia. We just thought, you know, that we've got issues here.
Well, when parents usually first call the school, you get the background story of what's going on with their children. They're having trouble reading, spelling, writing. The school where they're at right now isn't really helping or doing much for them, and so they want to know what we can do.
We went through testing through school. It was very frustrating to get the kind of help she needed, so I had known of Pinnacle and took her to visit Denise and have her evaluated.
We really look at each child individually. We look at what their school history has been, where their strengths are, what do they like to do, what are they having difficulties with. Very often children will have difficulty with reading or writing or spelling.
It was pretty clear that she's dyslexic, and she's a pretty textbook dyslexic. That does have a much broader application than just reading and math, that it's in many ways a way that these children see the world.
And part of our assessment process is really looking at each individual child, and that first meeting takes about an hour or so.
We set up a time, I think, and went over and met with Denise, and then shortly after that brought Marcus over for at least a part of a day to try and, you know, be in the school for a little bit, see what it was like, and there was no question after that. Yeah, that's where he was going.
And then we'll sit down and talk with the child and with the parent and figure out what is it that the parents would like to see next, what would the child like to see next, and how can Pinnacle help them meet those goals.
The evaluation was life-changing. He made us realize that Lindsay wasn't anyone unusual. She had a learning difference.
There was a great sense of relief that we had experts and people with unique expertise to address my son's issues.
I just knew that she was going to thrive there.
They kind of felt defeated, I could tell, when they first came in. They felt like almost very resistant to open up to me.
I was told we were going to have to build his self-confidence and his self-esteem.
Their self-esteem changed almost overnight as they learned to begin to learn to read and spell and write. They start feeling a whole lot better about themselves.
I think she has improved so much at Pinnacle that she will be able to succeed in the public schools.
I will never forget the day that Lindsay came home and said, you know what, I'm not dumb. I can read, I can do this. And it was the greatest feeling as a parent to hear your child say she could believe in herself now.
I would characterize the learning environment as totally collaborative. Everybody is working with everyone. There's definitely not a hierarchy at all.
When I am planning for my lessons, I just try to keep in mind the students and the fact that they do need things to engage them, to intrigue them, and try to incorporate that into my lesson plans.
You could tell that very quickly he understood that this was a great environment for him. Small classroom setting, a teacher that was, you know, very focused on the different types of learning styles.
They had different strategies for teaching students with dyslexia, hands-on learning, learning visually, learning creatively in creative ways that the public schools didn't have.
Are they going to be put in a classroom with 20 or 25 students? No, we always cap it at 12 students. Our teachers are trained in Orton-Gillingham. We're different.
She really liked the idea of being in a small class. She loved Mrs. Giles' classroom, the way it was set up, and very kid-friendly. She was into it.
They do a lot of visual and creative tasks. She wasn't afraid to go, even leaving all of her friends. It empowered her.
Obviously, our student body is selected for students who will benefit from our curriculum. They're all visual learners. Most of our students are dyslexic or have a similar information processing difference. That makes us unique.
Most of the students in my class do have dyslexia. There are some students with other learning differences. It's nice because there are only 10. You get to really individualize and get to know what their differences are.
And they're part of a collaborative learning environment that includes everyone, the students, the teachers, the faculty, our parents, the community. And the community plays a key role in our education. That we work with a lot of partnerships to really provide students with a good program. One of the greatest challenges our families face is paying for an education at Pinnacle, and we're an independent nonprofit organization. We teach students in grades K through 12, but the difficult part, of course, is really financing the education, and we feel we're an excellent value for what we provide.
When you're talking about your son and what's going to allow him to thrive in the future, you know, that was a no-brainer. That was a non-issue from the cost standpoint.
You make sacrifices for your child to attend a school that you know it's an investment in her future and an investment in her. You make sacrifices to make it happen.
And we have a generous scholarship program, which is critically important for support, but even sometimes it's not enough, or we don't have enough resources for a family in that particular year.
Early on, we did get some scholarship support when we first started out, and I've been grateful to family members who have been able to help my wife and I be able to afford his education.
Ultimately, I really want each of my students to be happy, and I want them to be able to pursue whatever opportunities they wish.
I'd be hard-pressed to think of kids that wouldn't excel in the Pinnacle model, no matter what their background are, whether that be gifted and talented kids or kids that maybe are struggling a little bit.
I can't imagine his life without Pinnacle School.
Pinnacle School gave my son back to me.
If you have a child who's struggling and you can't make the public school work for your child, and a lot of what you do as a parent, as you know, is advocate for your children. If your advocacy can't make a difference, and sometimes the schools just can't provide what your child needs, there is an option in Bloomington that we're really lucky to have.